For those with good taste.
Welcome back, Tasties and Taste Stats, to another episode of FTWGT Weekly. It's your boy Lenny, joined again by D Swizzy and Dad himself.
Who's who?
Well, he's the Disney adult, and you're...
I'm Dad?
No, Disney
Bro.
adult Dave. It's a running bit, dude.
I see.
You're D Swizzy, dude. I gave you a cool nickname for once.
Hell yeah. D Swizzy.
Fuck yeah. If you like those nicknames, make sure to drop a like, comment, share, and subscribe on the video. Thank you so much. I did want to get out in front of one thing really quickly, if I could, for you guys, and for the people at home. I'm not a supporter of terrorism. I just want that to be known now.
That is so brave of you.
Yeah.
To come out.
No, yeah, I just wanted to come out because I am, in fact, drinking a Starbucks coffee.
Uh-huh.
And in a roundabout way, I'm donating to terrorism, but I don't support it.
Don't support it. I just support it financially.
Terrorism tastes good.
This would be the time in the video where you drop a dislike down below.
Can I just plead ignorance? I didn't know before I bought this coffee. They donate to some party that I don't know.
You didn't know?
No, I didn't know, Dante.
Oh, okay, cool. I definitely don't remember you being informed like 2-3 months ago.
I thought that there was like a period of time that I, like, as an objector, I could give it up, but then I could go back.
You made your statement.
You boycotted.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. I took like 3-4 weeks off.
Yeah, you crippled them.
It was enough to make them feel it.
So yeah, they felt it. Your collective, what, $100 over the 4 weeks off? Like, they're hurting now.
That's one less pack of bullets, dude. I in fact saved lives by not buying coffee for a month. What have you guys done?
That might not even cost one bullet.
Yeah, there you go. So okay, yeah, I saved one person by not drinking coffee. Well, I was drinking coffee, but I heard Dunkin' Donuts is one of the good ones. Not their coffee, but like,
I was gonna say that coffee's horrible.
Yeah. Well, this is the tough part, right? Like, where do we draw the line if something does in fact taste better on our conscientious objection to something?
I don't know if it's popular or unpopular opinion, but McDonald's coffee is actually pretty good.
I've heard that. Yeah. And it's $1 for any size. But also, you'd be supporting terrorism if you bought their coffee too.
Oh shit!
They were the
McDonald's
two
coffee
companies.
sucks.
Hypothetically, if 3 months ago I was told not to drink stuff or go places, it would have been Starbucks and McDonald's.
Cumberland Farms, people.
Yeah. This is why you support your local chains.
Yeah.
Because they're not big enough that these like terrorist organizations are coming looking for donations from them yet.
I'm telling you, if Wawa joins that fight with you guys, with Starbucks and McDonald's, man, it'll cripple me.
I would assume
We don't even have a local Wawa.
Yeah,
How would it cripple you?
It's still, it holds a special place in my heart.
Yeah. I just can't see them go down like that.
Right?
But
You know who would never support terrorism?
Who?
Good old Bucky the Beaver.
Well, no, I feel like here's what I was going to say, Dante. Knowing your QAnon ass, like, it's going to be the first one getting behind it, like, because your propaganda that you're wearing right now.
What?
City of Evil, dude. We're always going to have to remember.
Movie.
City of God?
City of Dreams.
See, this is how I know that I don't give a fuck about it, and you did.
Well played.
Yeah. See, here's the thing, man. I came on here and did a public service announcement to start this. You didn't say a word when you did that episode. You were like, "This movie is fucking great. I need you to check it out." It really made me think.
It really spoke to me.
Yeah. It opened my mind. I've never felt so enlightened before.
Oh God.
It's like he looked up on IMDb. He was like, "Oh, Sound of Freedom's on this streaming service."
Nope, never watched that one.
It's on your list, though. I saw it.
No, it's not. My list is public. You can see it's not on there.
Check it out. Though, what was on somebody's list last week, Dante, and we made a commitment to him.
We did make a commitment all along.
Yeah. Yep. So Dave Dave came at us pretty hard last week. It was tough.
Pause.
It's like John Voight in a bed.
Shots of the heart.
The Dave was pretty upset with us last week because we didn't watch Agatha, and we committed. And what do we do, Dante, when we make a commitment?
We follow through.
We fucking follow through, baby. So here we are with our review of the first 3 episodes of Agatha All Along.
Yeah.
Dante, give me some of your thoughts first.
It's actually pretty good. I'm gonna lie. I think the first episode, thankfully, Dave explained it's kind of weird and you just got to get through it because it was definitely kind of weird. But once you get into the heat of stuff with her finding her coven and all that stuff, it's all right, cool. This got interesting. I like it.
I'm gonna tell you, for the first 2 episodes, I was like, I don't give a fuck what's going on right now. And I do think Dave helped because if
he didn't explain it
the
along,
first
I would have
episode.
backed out after the first episode.
Yeah, I was pretty out through most of the first episode,
Yeah.
and into the second episode. It's definitely got me more bought in off of the third episode. She's really good. Catherine Hahn's really good. I wish we've seen more Aubrey Plaza than we have so far, but we've gotten a little bit. And the rest of the cast is all really solid. I like the young kid that's doing the whatever with her.
Yeah, the teen.
Yeah,
It's
the teen.
Yeah.
Now, can we just get into the teen right off rip here?
Full spoilers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me just I wanted to preface a few things beforehand. So that whole first episode that was really weird with her accent and
I
doing
didn't
the whole
think
detective
they actually
stuff.
didn't stand out to me as much as it did to Dave.
I noticed it, but
So it's
Yeah.
still kind of in the vein of what WandaVision was doing, where every single episode was a different type of TV show
It was
from the
a
Brady
different
Bunch.
time period.
Right. So that whole first episode was basically just kind of a carbon copy of a Kate Winslet show called Mayor of Easttown, where
Got it.
she plays this I think in middle of nowhere
Jeremy Renner's in
Pennsylvania.
that too, isn't he?
Yeah, he might be.
Pretty. You can not look it up. I'm right.
I don't see him on the list here.
Mekhi Phifer is also in it, right?
Hold on. You just keep going, Dave. Keep giving your background.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, just kind of plays this backwoods detective, and I think a lot of the music, a lot of the theming, a lot of the opening credits and everything kind of plays into this town.
And when is that show from?
Oh, Mayor of Kingstown.
Yeah.
It's
Easttown.
Jeremy Renner.
Oh.
Yeah. And this isn't mayor as in the political figure. It's
Yeah.
Mare.
You can see where the confusion came from, though.
Sure.
Till this moment, I thought those were the same show.
Oh.
I had never actually heard of this show until hearing about the comparison.
I still haven't heard of this show.
I feel like D might have watched this show, so I think I've heard of it. I think you would have heard about it too, because I'm pretty sure he told us on the taste test.
Okay, that makes sense. Maybe I tuned him out.
Probably. Do you have any other fun facts?
I guess no. If you guys want to kind of keep talking about, you want to talk about the teen.
Yeah, well, he's definitely her son, right?
Yeah.
So
I got that vibe too by the third episode, I think it was.
Yeah.
I think there's 2 battling theories.
He's either Mephisto or he's...
One of them is that, yeah, he is Nicholas Scratch, I think was
I was going to say Holet.
the team or the name in the nursery or whatever in the bedroom in the first episode. But then I guess there's another theory that he plays someone named Billy something, I think, from the comics, who was also a part sorcerer.
And they're just helping him get his powers, basically, now.
Yeah. I feel like that there's something he
No, I feel like there's a dark twist to him.
yeah.
Just, I felt like he was the son because, obviously, he can't say his name. She can't hear his name.
Can't
There's
hear
certain
where he's
things-
from.
Yeah, there are certain things she just can't hear about him. And they're throwing you off with the mother and father thing when it's that she gave him up, right?
Right.
And there's such an emphasis, in that third episode, when her vision is seeing the book of the damned, which she gave up her child for, right?
Yeah.
Plus, you have the scene where the potions witch talks to him off to the side kind of tells him about Agatha's backstory about giving up the child.
Yes.
And she also like flat out says Mephisto
In
for
that,
the
yes.
first time in the entire MCU, like is the first time he's ever brought up.
Yeah.
Here, and I don't know, you brought up Mephisto last week, and like I think it's weird in a series like this introducing who's supposed to be like one of your biggest bads. Like this doesn't feel like the scale because it has none of your main like MCU characters. It's just side character stuff pretty much, right?
I think for them, it more so just starts the conversation. They don't necessarily have to make it the main focus. They may not even revisit it.
Do you think they don't?
They probably will, but I'm saying like,
And again, I don't know. I'm just basing off like the way that Dave described it last week that it feels like that's where this is leading, especially if they're already introducing the idea of him in episode 3.
well, if it does lead that way, maybe we get some introduction of some actual major characters towards the end of this.
It would only be bringing back Scarlet Witch, though, right?
Probably, yeah.
I think there are also rumors of Sacha Baron Cohen is rumored to be playing a role in the MCU as Mephisto, but it would be introduced during the Ironheart movie.
Sacha Baron Cohen, I don't think that works, no? To me, he's just Borat.
I mean, I think he could pull something off.
Dante, you're the vote, the swing vote.
Right now, I'm just seeing Borat because I didn't know who that was
Yeah.
until you made that comparison.
Married to Isla Fisher?
I think separated, but yes.
Okay. I loved her in her Wedding Crasher days.
I am Mephisto, the Dark Lord of the world.
Shit.
That would actually be perfect. Yeah. No, now I'm sold. Yeah, you got me. Yeah. He's just playing pranks.
My sweet Pamela.
They're like, listen, Sasha, I know you're supposed to be a villain, but we just need Borat, basically. We're taking the MCU a different direction.
Yeah. Oh,
He's filming a mockumentary in the midst of an MCU movie.
just Mephisto vlogging.
Yeah, it's just like it's 2 movies in one. They're like there's the Mephisto cut that's like him just fucking around with the actors.
Oh, man, that'd be great.
So now that you guys have seen it, I want to kind of just bring up one thing that kind of like just, I guess, confused me a little bit was towards the end of the 2nd episode when they start gathering, all the witches show up at Agatha's house.
Mm-hmm.
And they're complaining like, oh, wait, like who's missing? We're supposed to have a green witch. And on the piece of paper, they're like, oh, it's a heart. And then as soon as like they said it's a heart, I'm like, oh, it's a black heart. And he's like, a black heart. And I was like, oh, that's literally what Aubrey Plaza's character said about herself in the first episode. I was like, oh, okay. Aubrey Plaza's their green witch. And then all of a sudden it's just like, oh, let me walk outside and grab Mrs. Hart. She's going to be with us. And I'm like, okay, I guess I kind of wasn't seeing that. You literally just
I think that's intentional though, because I think that going back to when she eats the paper, she knew the whole time that it was supposed to be Aubrey Plaza's character that went with them. But they have that scene where she tries to kill her and she knows that she doesn't want to be involved with her. Did they used to date or something? Feels like.
Oh, they're 2 characters?
There was like some sexual tension there.
I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, I thought
Felt
so.
like there was quite a bit there. Like the licking of the hand and such.
Yeah.
That I took that as like she's been actively avoiding because she knows that that's who it's supposed to be, but she doesn't want to use her. So she just goes and gets Kitty and asks her to do it. I feel bad for Kitty about that.
I feel like that theory also kind of makes sense because throughout like both 2nd and 3rd episodes, like she's constantly having to correct her, like, no, my name's Sharon. I am not Mrs. Hart. So it's like, that's not who she is.
But that was her maiden name, though, I think.
No, that was her fake name in Wanda's other reality.
I do love, I love Kitty, and I was really bummed when he's just like, we have a problem. Like, she's dead. And is she dead because she was having all this magic stuff done to her and she's not magic? Or is it because they didn't get the potion inside heard the antidote.
I
in her
assume they didn't get
quick
the
enough.
antidote in time.
I'm pretty sure it's because they didn't use a strand of her hair
That
in
was
the potion.
Oh yeah. You're right.
Because not
never
only
went
did
and
they
pulled it.
forget to almost like give her the potion, they never took a strand of her hair to put into the potion.
Do you think she's long dead now? She's like,
I
or
think
is there something more to that character?
I didn't really know what to think until you kind of just like opened my eyes on the like it never should have been her in the first place. So I think it should be Aubrey Plaza is their Green Witch, and she needs to somehow come in and be with them through the rest of this trial.
But yeah, now it comes into like, how
'Cause-
does she get herself onto the magic road or whatever?
Right.
Because the other tricky thing too is that first trial was the Potion Witch's trial. So
Right.
like they didn't even get to the Green Witch's trial yet, and they don't have a Green Witch anymore.
Right. Because Aubrey Plaza has to play a role at some point within this. And I'm assuming the entire series, maybe save for the last episode, is going to be on this road.
Do we know how many episodes there are of this?
9.
I think
9?
Is it 9?
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that was the other thing while I was watching it. I was like, how are they pacing this? Because we're going to get, it seems like each episode's going to be a different trial in their quest on the road, right?
Mhm.
This is some like Wizard of Oz shit, huh?
It's 100% the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah. What did you guys think of like the people that were coming to kill Agatha?
The Salem 7?
Yeah.
Pretty spooky.
I liked it.
Like for just a Disney TV show.
I liked like the crawl down the stairs and stuff. Do you think we'll see them again?
I think
I
they'll
think so,
show
yeah.
up on the road. Yeah.
They'll get
On the road?
themselves like
I thought it would be after the road.
I think
because the
they'll find
road
a way
thing's
in.
confusing because so Agatha's been there before.
Yeah.
So,
Or is she
like
lying?
she said, I feel like she's lying.
It feels like she's lying, right?
Because every time that like somebody asks a question, she just kind of deflects and doesn't actually give an answer, and it just gives me the feeling that she's never actually been here.
Yeah.
Like she just makes something up right after the fact. Like, oh, it didn't take this long for a door to appear last time.
Yeah.
do you guys like Agatha? Like, is she a likable character?
I think she's an interesting character.
Yeah,
I don't think she's
that's
meant
fair.
to be likable though.
Yeah, because like you feel kind of bad that she's just like she's not feel bad, but like she's definitely manipulating all of them.
They're almost making it seem like there's more to her, and like there's been a theme lately. I feel like with like movies and TV shows where it's like, let's explain the villain.
Yeah, I don't know if but I think she's gonna turn into a hero. Is more what this is like. I think she's gonna start to soften to all of these characters as things progress and not be as selfish is probably the way I see it most likely going. But then I think it's going to be interesting depending on what happens with the teen for how that character arc kind of goes.
So I feel like there's a lot of motherly vibes coming out of her when in regards to the teen. There's been several times where she's been like protective of him. For the most part, when like I think when like the rest of the coven finds like he tries to speak his name and they're like, oh, somebody put a hex on you, and he's like, who would try to like hide me? And then she immediately like pushes him behind her, like she's hiding him, and like she kind of then deflects away from that conversation.
But didn't they answer some of why she's hiding him? Because like the skincare woman like is like realizes that he
another
has
sacrifice or
yeah,
whatever.
like he has powers that like Agatha's already recognized and doesn't want the rest of them to know it, or at least knows there's something interesting about him. Doesn't know that he has powers necessarily, but knows that there's something different about him because of the not being able to say his name or hear him.
Yeah, because she wasn't really interested in anything with him until that point.
Yeah. But then at the same time, going back to his character and what his like point of the show is and what he might end up being, like how did they ever explain why he ended up finding Agatha? Like why was he in her dream in the first episode? Or
all they said was he came to her looking for the road.
Like how would he know that unless he was there for an ulterior motive? Right.
I just feel like they're almost at this point trying to make it too obvious that he's her son, that I'm just waiting for the twist because that's probably not it.
I mean, yeah. And it's like to go back to like the motherly point too, like he also tried to grab the wine and like down that
And
when everybody and she stopped him like twice and pulled the cup away from him.
But yeah, is that because he's a teen, or is that like because she doesn't want him?
The same way she's trying to save her power, is she trying to save his to steal it later?
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, like, because was that going back to it was like the beginning of them getting into the road when it fails initially and she tries like egging them on to attack her so she can take the powers. Does was her intention to ever get into the road? Because if she never went, did she not think it was possible? And really, the only motive to bring all of them there was strictly to steal the power.
I think that was just a quick like backup plan B kind of thing.
No,
I think that was the main.
So I think
motive.
that was the main motive because, like I said, I don't believe that she had been on the road, and I don't believe that there's part of her that probably actually thinks that it doesn't exist. I think her whole. So, but the thing is, if that was her whole goal of trying to steal the powers, like, why did she kind of explain what her weakness was to the clairvoyant woman? Like, hey, like, you have to attack me to steal your powers.
Yeah.
Like, she physically told her
that.
like, don't attack me and I can't steal your power. And then obviously she's the one that stopped.
Does she not want her power though?
I don't know.
Because it also going back to like her not knowing, like she did know like don't step off the road. Like she did know some of those, like,
but she
Well,
only
she knows
knew
the
that
song.
after Kitty stepped off the road, and I keep calling her Kitty just because I forget what her name is. Sharon.
that song's a banger.
It was.
Yeah, I was into it.
Song is a banger.
Yeah.
I could see that getting caught in a few heads.
Oh yeah,
They had a good little harmony going on there
Oh,
too.
hell yeah.
I liked it.
I was
nice.
fucking with it. I was nodding my head.
It'd be cool if like songs just opened up stuff.
Like emotions.
No,
No, like-
doors.
or like if you sang like mystical to a girl.
What opens? What opens, Lenny?
I saw him do that. I saw him do that like 2 days ago. It was like on my TikTok of him on like the Tiny Desk thing with him and Manny Fresh doing that song with like acoustic backing to it.
Yeah.
It was pretty great, dude.
Oh,
Back
God.
that ass up just to an acoustic set in a small like library-esque room.
Damn, I love that.
It was,
I'm
it
gonna
was a
have to catch
vibe,
it.
dude. It was good. It was really good. And you're like, he still kind of got it.
What?
I guess getting back to Agatha, I was out for the most part, but I'm interested now. I don't know, like, again, the whole weekly thing, I think, again, I don't know if I would have watched after the first 2 weeks if I hadn't have been able to watch episode 3 and like continue.
Because it really
on.
took until episode 3 to fully like engage me, like be like, I want to
Yeah.
see what goes
I don't know, the
from here. Yeah.
season or episode 2 ending with that song and like jumping down the road kind of didn't make you like, okay, like I want to watch the third one now.
It made me curious, but I don't know if it necessarily locked me in. Like there being a third episode to watch at that point kept me going. But if it was something where I had to wait another week for it, I probably would have, by the time the week came, been like, yeah, whatever.
I would have wanted to wait another week to let another week build up.
Yeah.
I think that's the difficulty here. And we'll get into my taste test. Like I watched the first episode of a show this week and like there is no second episode for me to watch. It's a bummer feeling though.
Yeah.
Also, I'm sure I don't know, do we have streaming stats for this? Like how many people watch this?
I don't think they release any of that stuff.
Because
Actually, well, so
they
I don't-
released it for the Penguin. I was going to bring that up really quick.
I don't know if there's physical numbers, but I did see a report that through 3 episodes, this is getting less viewership than The Acolyte. However, at like 1/10 of the cost per
Fair.
episode.
Yeah, fair. There's not like there's not crazy special effects in this. Everything in the episodes are pretty practical. Like,
Yeah.
so nothing crazy there. I know the Penguin, it said like in the first week it did 11 million, and then for the episode 2 premiere, it did like 1.8 million viewers. But like that's over a week that it did like 11 million. So 1.8 for day 1 on the second episode.
Okay.
It could potentially it's probably going to get to like 8 or 9 million. You're going to see some type of drop off, but I imagine you get it. But even that's a show I want to watch that. But at this point, I feel like it's going to be a slow burn. So I'd like to see
Wait and
some episodes build up. Yeah. Before I get into it.
9.3 million views of the first episode is pretty good.
Yeah. In that, does it give like a drop off or anything?
It doesn't really say much after that.
Yeah, and I guess like for this one, it's a little different because I don't necessarily see a world where we get a season 2 of Agatha All Along.
No, I think it's
necessarily.
just a mini series that is just going to explain and lead into some other part of the MCU.
What's the next MCU series? Do we know?
Series? No idea.
Because I think the next MCU thing period is just the Captain America movie, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and well, and then you also have Thunderbolts like shortly after.
Okay, yeah. Good.
I'm better.
Daredevil, or is that a movie?
It's a TV show.
Yeah,
Yeah, that is actually it. You're right. Born Again.
Yep.
Which that will be one where we'll do week by week. I feel like.
See now, like
I vibe with that.
The next couple of releases, so you got Captain America, Daredevil, Thunderbolts, and Ironheart. Now, if Sacha Baron Cohen is believed to be Mephisto, and they're saying it's going to be an Ironheart, I don't really know how that fits, really. But like,
what correct teaches about Ironheart? Sorry,
I don't know her
Words.
character. She was the girl that kind of.
Is it Tony Stark's daughter?
No. Was it? There's a scene on a bridge. Which movie was it? Oh my god.
Oh, on the bridge. That's got to be Black Widow.
No, was it? No.
I knew it wasn't Black Widow. But there's a fight scene on a bridge with Taskmaster.
Oh no, it's the Aquaman. Like
it's different franchise.
no, I know the Aqua
Jason
dude.
Momoa.
The Incan Mexican water dude.
I don't see color.
Was it Black Panther 2?
Oh yeah, okay. The villain from Black
Yeah.
Panther.
Oh,
2?
Neymar.
Yes.
He's a soccer player.
Yeah, so she shows the Ironheart. She like makes her own like Iron Man suit or whatever. The girl. She's like the college student that they try to save.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I saw Black Panther 2 in the theater, and I haven't thought about it a second since.
I forgot how we got here. Why are we talking about her?
Ironheart.
She's Ironheart?
Yes.
Okay.
Has her own movie coming out.
So I need to watch Black Panther 2 again?
Probably. Like that took me a while to get there.
Fuck.
Jesus Christ.
Did we like Black Panther 2?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely not as good as the first one, but I think it was good.
It was just tough with no Chad, right?
Right.
Never thought we'd be sad to see a Chad go.
But yeah, so other
Too
than
soon.
I guess Ironheart, like whatever comes else out after that, like I don't know what else this Agatha show would kind of bleed into other than maybe Wanda comes back at the end and she's also in something else, or maybe it leads into something for Doctor Strange.
Wanda and Vision have to be the end of whatever this is going after, I feel like, in some way. Especially if your next villain's going to be in the magical realm, like to not have them involved seems weird.
Like it might just bleed into whatever Secret Wars ends up being in 2027.
It is tough to think, like, they're basically rewriting this whole phase, though, on the fly, right? Like, because this was never the direction that any of this was meant to go. So now it's like the plot of where all these movies are kind of directing you towards is kind of completely rewritten without having Jonathan Majors in play anymore, right?
Yeah, they obviously have to kind of cut out the whole Kang stuff. Obviously, like the Jonathan Majors stuff, that was just a big controversy. And also the fact that, like, I don't know, I guess just the character of Kang itself wasn't really landing with most audience members.
It's weird because Quantumania is like the movie didn't land, but he was not the problem with Quantumania. And then Loki season 2, he was very good for what he was in, right? Like, I don't see where his character wasn't necessarily landing. It's like the stuff that he was given as far as his introduction, like being in Quantumania was just not a good movie for him to end up in, but he has to be there for his character to be introduced. Like it kind of, I understand why they had to do it, but at the same time,
Well, I think it's partially, I know for myself, like to have a successful like Kang story, like what they kind of started to do was you need to have a successful multiverse story. And I think at this point, everybody is just so sick of the idea of a multiverse. Like we have our characters.
Are they? Didn't we just do Daredevil? Not Daredevil. Deadpool.
Yeah, but it's like
Huge movie, multiverse. You also had No Way Home, huge movie, multiverse. Like I don't,
because these are all things that were already pre-written, man. Like I'm not a big fan of like the whole idea of the multi. It's messy and like
I think
you're able just
certainly
to
messy.
delete and rewrite and bring back characters that were killed that you already had this big emotional state for, but like
Sure.
no, let's just rewrite it. They're back.
Well, I'll follow up with two things. I think you're right that like it takes away stakes, and what made Endgame and Infinity War incredible were the loss that you felt through those movies.
Right.
However, I would say, are we really past it though? If we're gonna have Tony Stark,
So that's the
back.
thing. Like, is he Tony Stark as Doctor Doom? Like,
well, it's a variant of
right. But like, is he Tony Stark?
It feels like he has to be, right?
It's like, that's so stupid.
I've seen a couple different ways that they can play it out because it's been done in the comics where Tony Stark turned. There was like an Iron Doctor Doom that they've done in the comics.
I'm not saying that like the characteristics that make Tony Stark don't also fit Doctor Doom had he been evil.
Mhm.
I'm just saying like we went through this gigantic emotional state when we lost Tony Stark.
Yeah.
Like it was a huge pivotal moment
RDJ.
that took 10 years to get to. And then now you're back as our villain.
Yeah.
Like I can't.
I think and we're so past the initial reaction of it, but I still think it feels messy, him coming back. I think it's more of a shock value thing when he gets to unmask himself at Comic-Con and like you get this buzz off of it. I will say I have faith in what he's done in the franchise on top of what they've done with this franchise, recency bias aside. That like I'll wait till the performance and what he does to have a definitive like thought on it.
Sure.
You know?
I'm not saying that like whatever he's given, he will absolutely kill the role. It's just like, what are we writing at this point?
Yeah. Yeah, it I don't see why it would have been so hard for them. There's plenty of great actors that you could have just cast as Doctor Doom. Right? Like I think that's the tough thing in a franchise like this that can literally get any actor that they want to do these roles, basically. You could have had your pick of the lot. You know what I think probably happened, though, is for the longest time they probably wanted Kevin Spacey.
Nah.
Just couldn't use him. Yeah. Excommunicado. You know?
Yeah.
He feels like he would have been great.
Well, just like you, he's canceled.
Yeah, fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking Starbucks. We'll see where Agatha goes. I think it's an interesting first 3 episodes. I think I'm optimistic on it. It was good. No gripes from me there, you know. Do you guys want to just there's not really a ton of news. Think we just jump into the taste test?
Sure. You got it?
As long as you guys have it.
Taste.
That was very premature. Dave couldn't last.
Shit.
Taste.
Let's get into our next movie review. The Wild Robot.
My Little Robot.
Yes. Wally.
Yes.
Who wants to start us off?
Dave.
Okay. Dave.
Dante.
Shit. No, I picked you.
Well, I mean, I think he picked you. So,
Pikachu.
I choose you.
My Bucky boy.
okay, who's going?
Word. I guess I am, because Dave backed out.
Never
I
backed out.
honestly started out with this movie, like the first, like, I'd say 15, 20 minutes, just being like, wow, this is just another generic kids movie. But it really picks up and like the story wraps you in, and I think it gives you a lot of like fun plot lines. It's very interesting. It's it's emotional at times. And overall just a really good movie.
It is the highest rated animated film from DreamWorks, tied with this film. Which one is it?
From DreamWorks.
Shrek.
No.
How to Train Your Dragon.
That one.
Yeah.
Yep. So this is like the most successful animated movie that DreamWorks has done as well, and it's also getting the best critical like acclaim. I think it outshot its projections for week 1. You pulled up box office, didn't you?
It's got a 98 critic score and audience score currently, and it's made about 35 million through the opening weekend.
Yeah, I think it was only expected to make like 25 or 30, but it's just growing in traction because of the reviews off of it. And I think with you, Dante, I was skeptical for about the first 15 minutes of this movie of where it was going. When he was just kind of rolling around as like a robot, not knowing what was going on. I was like, what is this going to be? But I think from the minute, and just to be fair, spoilers, 3, 2, 1. How do you guys do your numbers?
3, 2, 1.
So you do both. You like a bisexual.
Ambisexual?
No?
Ampisexual.
What?
Well, you went 3 and then you switched to the other way to do it. Got it. Got it. Yeah, so once the baby is born and it imprints on him, I think from that point on, I was pretty locked. Sorry, my bad. Whoops. Them. I was pretty locked in on this movie from that point on. And all of the side characters, I thought the fox was pretty awesome.
Yeah, the possum,
the bear, the fucking
the
woodchuck or beaver or whatever. Yeah.
Woodchuck.
What was he doing?
He was chucking wood, I guess.
So what would a woodchuck do?
And he was building a dam.
That's true. That's true. Woodchucks. Where do woodchucks live?
Woodchucks are birds,
Actually,
first off. So like,
woodpeckers are birds.
Oh shit! What's a woodchuck?
I'm asking you that. I've had one in my backyard for a long time. They dig under the ground and they live in burrows.
Is that a woodchuck?
No, that.
No,
Yeah,
Bucky's a beaver.
That doesn't look like what I saw in the movie.
They animated it differently. They took some creative liberties.
We're just gonna let him get off with saying a woodchuck is a bird. We're just gonna let that slide. That was insane. Like, go back and watch the tapes. I was like, "Am I wrong?" Like, I stopped for a second. I was like, "What is that? Huh?"
I realize now. I don't think I ever knew what a woodchuck was. I the whole time was thinking you meant woodpecker.
No, you never heard the saying like, "How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?"
I've definitely heard that saying. I've said it many times, and in my head, I've always visualized a woodpecker.
How much wood would a woodpecker peck if a woodpecker could peck wood?
Yeah,
That's good. That's good. Woodpecker.
So I typed in woodchuck.
Yeah.
And it pulled up groundhog.
Similar, but different, I feel like.
The groundhog, also known as the woodchuck.
Huh.
It is the same thing.
So groundhogs chuck wood?
I guess so.
I thought
They
just
have
dig holes.
I know they had the 2 front teeth, very similar to a beaver, but
I have a couple follow-up questions. Woodpecker, is that the most annoying animal?
night squirrels.
I don't think so.
Night squirrels?
Night squirrels.
Why are night squirrels annoying?
Because they just scream
Do they?
in the middle of the night.
Isn't that like not a Cheshire cat? What's a Fisher cat?
Fisher cat?
Fisher cat, yeah.
Yeah, that one's got to be up there, right?
Sure. I don't know. what that is.
Woodpecker's probably the most annoying. Just sitting there fucking slamming your face into a tree for hours.
At high speed.
Yeah, like that's got to be the most annoying one. It's up there with like rooster, right? But a rooster at least has like a designed thing. Like it tells you when it's morning. It tells you to wake up.
Yeah.
What does a woodpecker do?
Just pecking away at some wood all day.
My second follow-up question was, would a woodchuck make a good pet?
No.
No.
Why?
It'll fucking tear
It's
through
just
your
gonna
house.
burrow
What do
into
you
shit.
you just give it logs and shit for toys.
So we just established a woodchuck is a groundhog, which they like to bury into the ground. So like,
What if you had Deep Blue Sea? Familiar with the movie?
yeah, R.I.P. LL Cool J.
Do you remember the flaw in the setup of Deep Blue Sea, like how the sharks were trying to get out? That the tensile strength of the fencing underwater was that of a strength that the sharks couldn't get out. So what they were doing was flooding the thing so that it went up higher so they could get to the regular fence. woodchuck, I'm getting around to my point. The woodchuck, you just put fencing under the ground, so now you can just keep it in your backyard.
That's way too elaborate.
You do remember that plot from Deep Blue Sea, right?
I do, but like, good God.
Also, on Deep Blue Sea, really quickly, two movies that have nothing to do with each other, The Wild Robot and Deep Blue Sea. However, the idea that you were going to raise the level of the water in the complex to go that of higher than the fencing, but it's filling up water in the ocean. It doesn't make sense now that I'm really putting it in perspective.
They flooded the ocean.
Yeah, like they were just in a vast ocean, and we're like, the shark was like,
Water up.
we can get more.
I gotta watch this movie again because there's a way that makes sense.
No. I'm telling you right. And I love that movie, dude. It's one of my favorite movies probably ever. Like, I'm a shark guy. We know this.
Yeah.
There's a lot that doesn't make sense in that movie. Like LL Cool J would not fit into the top part of that oven. But now that I'm really thinking about the idea of the shark was so smart that it was like, let's raise the water level in the ocean in its entirety by letting more water into another part of the ocean. Like it's an ass backwards plot line.
Yeah.
Your mind's broken a little bit right now, right?
So, anyways, the wild robot.
Yeah, this movie almost got me to cry. I'll just come out and say it. Yeah, like I held it together. Because it's weird. It's not like super sad necessarily, but it was just like, oh, you get attached to you're like, that's his mom, dude. You just get kind of attached when he's letting him go, like off on his first flight.
I think the soundtrack did a lot for that for me. Like you have a super emotional moment with the right soundtrack to add to it, and it's just like, damn,
it kind of does the whole thing for you.
I'm wiping one out, you know?
Yeah, but and so you were by yourself in the theater. What was your turnout like?
It was like half full.
I only had, because I also saw it 10 o'clock. I had a couple over here and I had a couple over there.
I went at 3:30 in the afternoon on a Monday, and it was half full, and there was a lot of kids in there. So like I was just assuming like parents picked up their kids and went straight to the movie theater, which is weird to me, but hey, cool.
Could also, I don't think that's that weird though, really. Like, I also think that, like, what if it was babysitters?
Could have been.
You know,
I wasn't paying too much attention to like the individual people. I just noticed there was a lot of children in there.
Were the kids vibing?
I mean, they were locked in. They were mostly quiet, so it was like easy to forget they were there, which is good.
Yeah.
But like, I just noticed, like, as I walked in and when I was leaving, I was like, damn, there was a ton of kids in there. I look like a fucking weirdo in here by myself watching this movie, but whatever.
Dante, we've seen weirder shit by ourselves.
No, I get it. And, like, it's one of those things where it doesn't really get to me at that point anymore, but it's still a thought I have, you know what I mean? Like, what is my perception here? Not that I care what it is, but, like, I still think about it.
Yeah, it's easy to kind of fall into that trap. All of the voice actors in this were very solid. Like, I didn't realize that was Lupita Nyong'o or whatever.
I didn't notice until the credits either, because as she was talking, I was like, I feel like I should know this voice.
I looked it up during the movie more so because I wanted to know who the fox was.
So I looked it up in the middle of the movie. I also just didn't care about pulling out my phone because I was the only person in the entire theater. When I heard the beaver and instantly knew that it was Matthew Berry, I was just like, oh, like, who the heck else is in this movie? And then, seeing Lupita Nyong'o, did not recognize it. Pedro Pascal, didn't recognize that was him.
Even
either.
after I knew it was him, I was like, I can't put like this voice to the face of Pedro Pascal. You also had
So then, like, even looking at it,
Ving Rhames
I was just like, all right, Ving Rhames is in this. Mark Hamill is in this. Catherine O'Hara, I picked up after seeing like she was in this and
two big successes
hearing
in
her
September
voice.
for her.
Yeah. But Ving Rhames and Mark Hamill, I went throughout the entire movie. I was like, I didn't pick up on which characters they played. Like, I just never actually heard their voices come through.
So I don't know.
So I remember the Hawk, and I remember being like, this is a voice I should know too. I didn't think Ving Rhames immediately, but like when I saw it in the end credits, I was like, ah.
I had already seen it was Ving. I read the name, hadn't seen the character on screen yet. And so when he popped up, I was like, oh, Ving Rhames,
Yeah.
making a killing this year on animated movies too. Garfield in this.
Oh yeah, Garfield. He was like the bull, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's kind of crushing game right now, just making his animated money. Good for him.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, really, and how important do you guys think that is to an animated movie, like its success? Is like the casting, realistically, and not that you have to know who it is, but like every time a great animated movie comes out, you look at the cast and it's like a star-studded, like really good cast.
I think I don't think it matters who it is, as long as they don't pull you out of the movie for hearing their voice.
Are we going to bring
Matthew
up Chris
Perry-
Pratt again?
Matthew Perry brought me out of the movie, like very briefly, because I was just like, oh, that's Matthew Perry's voice. Or sorry, Matthew Berry's voice.
Yeah, I was like, I don't think that Chandler could have done
No.
this.
But don't get me wrong, just Matthew Berry's voice is just so iconic, and like I'll take it in anything that I watch.
Do you think if Matthew Perry was recast in this movie that they would have had to redo it again?
Sure.
It also brings up what I wanted to bring up earlier. Like, is this Friends inspired that you put this on your water?
I mean, the sticker is Friends inspired, but
But is it because you're a Friends guy?
that's not why I bought it. No,
Are you a Friends guy?
I've watched it. Yeah, I like it.
You haven't seen the whole show.
I've watched the whole thing. I've had
When Ross when Ross is trying to listen to the voicemail, at the very end, fucking hilarious. Like, no, like it just stops, cuts off before he knows what she's gonna do.
honestly one of the funnier scenes with Ross is the leather pants.
Yeah. Ross is a hit in that show.
Yeah.
Ross's couch up the staircase,
Mhm.
pivot.
pivot.
I feel like that show gets kind of knocked. Like these days, people are kind of like, it's not that funny. I'm sure like it's not as funny because it's a show from 20 years ago. But in terms of a show that was just cast like perfectly, like the dude characters are all super funny in that, and then the women characters are all attractive.
Well, I think it's a big thing in a show like that to be able to tell that the cast all have actual chemistry with each other.
Mhm.
You know what
They
I
were
mean?
all at the perfect point, with the exception of like Aniston was like a level above probably in terms of her stardom at that point, or was starting to be like a level above them, but it never felt like throughout the show because she probably got in at the right time that she was their peer more than like I'm the
And I think
established
initially they
actress.
set up her character in a way that allowed it to be that and her work her way in because she was like, the rich girl and like,
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure throughout like contract negotiations too, like her stardom, like a couple seasons in, like she was being offered all this money to stay because she had offers elsewhere. When then you had characters like Ross and Chandler were getting significantly less, where they all came together as a cast and like, no, you're going to give all of us like this money together. We're going to make the same amount because we all equally make this show.
Do you really quick? Can we rank the Friends actors in terms of like success levels? It's definitely Jennifer Aniston at 1, but then I think the conversation becomes Courtney Cox versus Matthew Perry, right?
No, it's easily Courtney Cox, and then I'd probably say Lisa Kudrow next.
Over Matthew Perry?
What else has he done other
Fool's
than like
Gold. Oh no, Fool's
the Sweet 16 movie with Zac
17
Efron?
again.
Yeah.
No, he had like he did some stuff in the 90s. He had a Selma Hayek movie. He definitely had a run in the 90s where
Courtney
he was
Cox has
trying
had
to.
multiple TV shows. He's had Scream.
What Cujo then? Like what's Cujo up to?
Lisa Kudrow?
Yeah.
I've seen her in a decent amount of TV shows and like smaller movies. She's had a lot of work.
Schwimmer though played a Kardashian.
Sure. And
People loved it.
he's probably bottom of the barrel out of all. Maybe
No,
Matthew
it's-
Blank's on the bottom.
I was gonna say it's LeBlanc.
Yeah. He's done nothing.
He's done that, and he did Joey, where he played the same character.
And
Oh, and he had a show with Melissa Joan Hart, right?
I'm thinking of the space movie, the Robinsons, Danger, Will Robinson.
Oh, yeah, we're not gonna get it. What are we kidding here, right?
I've seen it so many times though.
Didn't they make a TV show?
Gary Oldman. Well, it was based on a TV show.
But then they have it come out again on Netflix.
Yeah, actually, that
uh,
came out again recently.
Yeah. Yeah. But LeBlanc, LeBlanc had like a show that ran decently long. I feel like with on like ABC Family. Melissa Joan Hart has crushed ABC Family. By the way, She did like a show with him, and then I think she had one with the Lawrence brothers. She had a show with one of the Lawrence brothers.
Yeah, love me some Clarissa.
Me too. Yeah, she also killed Sabrina, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's actually, she's up there as far as successful TV actresses.
What makes a successful TV actor though? Like, is it just the amount of TV shows you've been to, or amount of good TV shows you've been into?
I think it's the length of which those TV shows run, because there's plenty of good shows that people like that only lasted a season or something.
True.
Because the viewership wasn't there. But none of her shows were shows that were on for a season or two. I feel like they were all like 4 or 5 season runs that she's gotten.
Because I feel like the goal for TV actors should be breaking out into movies. No, wouldn't that be a better measure of success?
That's you being a star
Okay.
versus like a TV. Like, there's some actors that are just TV actors.
You just stay there, yeah.
You know, this is our wild robot.
Right. I'm like,
oh yeah.
I'm staring at it. I'm like, all right, when are we getting back to this?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought there's only so much to say, I feel like, from like because there's nothing I'm critical about. Like, there's nothing I didn't like about this movie, which is something rare to say, because I think it's generally easier to come in here even on movies I really like and like nitpick little things with it. I don't know about you guys, but there's nothing for me to really nitpick about this movie.
No, I mean, I think the premise was just pretty simple to follow. Just a robot, like, obviously, like, washes up ashore, tries to figure out what its purpose is on this island that has no humans, that has no directive, no task, and obviously just finds an egg, is given the
After
task.
it killed the parent.
Right.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah.
They showed bird murder in this movie. That's a nitpick. I can't believe they showed bird murder in a kid movie.
Yeah, and then obviously, yeah, it was kind of just an emotional tale of this robot overriding its code, trying to become a mother, and then yeah, it was a pretty emotional scene watching Bright Bill fly away on his first migration, and then,
just
like,
him being mean to her.
yeah,
Granted, he didn't know that she was a bird murderer. That makes sense, but
right.
You killed my parents.
yeah. How about the bullying scene? Felt bad for him.
Oh yeah.
I thought it was coming, honestly, like just the way
I mean,
he's been
highlighted
separated
from
and on
the
his own.
from the beginning of like her journey with him that he was the runt, and so like I feel like it was leading up towards that of him not being good enough, and like I think this movie had a lot of really good messages that it definitely drove home very well. And that's part of what made it a really good movie.
Yeah, it's like that mother son bond. There's like the being accepting of things that are different than what you are, and like overcoming your
weaknesses. Yeah.
Yeah, like there was definitely a lot of like those generic, but like not in a bad way. Like just like it, in a lot of ways, like this hits on what really good animated movies are successful at, right?
Yeah.
Is like those being really strong messaging for kids with characters that are fun and light, but as an adult being able to watch it, and the scripting is still done in a way that like none of the scripting of this movie was like I'm watching a kid's movie. Like it all felt
The
like,
beginning of it definitely felt like that, where it was like, this is pretty like childish almost. But at the end of the day, it is a kid's movie, and it very quickly builds on top of that.
and then you get into like the action stuff of it, which I really enjoyed. Like when they go to the headquarters of the robot thing, which small world, they just somehow the thing that they find their way to is where his
what a
home would be.
coincidence. Yeah.
Like they find their way back to that, but like that scene and like how malicious those robots were. I wish almost, though, I guess thinking about it now, would you guys have liked to have seen more of like the background of that company?
I don't think it was necessary because it wasn't about that company. It was just a glimpse of what that was and where she came from, but the real story was how she was assimilating into the wildness.
I think you can just picture like the greedy human, like who created all of these things, that now is like, I need to get back the one that's like outlearned his.
I think the problem is
software.
if they introduce that storyline, then it takes away from what this movie is.
Is there a world where now that this is super successful that you're getting a sequel?
It's possible. I don't feel like these studios necessarily pursue a sequel based on success, because they do put out a lot of successful movies. You know
I
what I
think
mean?
that that's what movie companies that go after sequels for, is success. quite the contrary, actually.
Basically, what I'm saying is like this could very well just be like a one and done, and they're just on to the next project. Like it's just okay.
How
cool,
many
this
successful DreamWorks movies have not gotten sequels?
Probably none. None that have been successful have not gotten sequels. I mean, like How to Train Your Dragon.
So many sequels to that.
Yeah, there's even a TV show, I think.
Yeah, like there's plenty of that weren't good that didn't get sequels. And I just think about the way this movie ends, and it's pretty much like both of your characters are now separated, but they have a way that they can get to each other, which is shown at the end of this. He says that he's planning to get, or she says that she's planning to return at some point and has maintained her memories, like her core memories, right?
Yeah.
So I think so much of it is set up to where if you wanted to do a sequel, it's them breaking Roz out. Yeah, like getting Roz back to the island, right?
Megamind never got a sequel.
Was that successful, or was that just a movie that has a notable poster and a main actor, Will Ferrell, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Jonah Hill as well.
He's kind of a movie whore.
Okay.
Never got a sequel to Ants.
It's because A Bug's Life was superior.
It was definitely superior.
Yeah,
significantly. Yeah. Save that for the debate show. We know what side you can take now.
Road to El Dorado, danger.
That is a great movie.
Yeah,
really good movie.
Didn't know that was DreamWorks actually.
No, you're just peeping off his list.
Yeah. I was definitely just watching the list.
Where did this fall into you guys' rankings?
I think
It's
it felt pretty
high
high.
online.
I think I gave it 3.5 stars.
I did as well. Yeah, I have it at 14. 3.5 stars at 14. I put it very high.
Oh, shoot. I didn't even put it on my list. I'm asking.
I actually put it above Transformers 1, and we were pretty high on that last week.
I put it just behind Transformers 1.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, like, they're both really good movies, but Transformers 1, I think, gave me a lot more of what I wanted out of it. Whereas I guess I didn't really go into this with much expectation, not to knock it at all. Like, they're still right next to each other.
I think I felt a more diverse range of like emotions for this movie than I did for Transformers 1.
Yeah.
Like being able to get like sadness out of me was not something I felt during any of Transformers 1.
No, you're fair. I also just don't think that was the goal of Transformers 1, and that's why I'm not going to hold it against it.
No. But I still think that that's like an important part of rating a movie higher is like making you feel things.
Oh, yeah. That's why Unsung Hero is so high on my list.
Yeah. You actually cried.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Lenny. I think I'm slotting it in for my small list of movies at number 3, directly ahead of Transformers.
All right. So next up, let's roll through some of the ones I've seen. So I want to talk about My Old Ass. Finally got to see it.
Hell yeah.
Like I had said in the Megalopolis review, like I'm just Aubrey Plaza almost every day of the past week. Like she just keeps popping up. And you were right, she's not in this a ton, but she's still very good in the scenes that she appears in. And just, to keep it brief, because we've already done the review on it, I definitely enjoyed the movie. I thank you for not giving me the spoilers on it, because I think one of the things that makes it interesting is...
I forget which spoiler I withheld.
When she says, don't talk to a guy named Chad, which is in the trailer.
Yeah.
And I think they set that up well in the trailer, because basically you spend the whole time being like, is this guy like a fucking murderer? Like, is he too good to be true on the exterior? And I think as you watch the movie progress, you start to understand what the arc is of the character.
And like their conversations like are a huge part of the movie. And like, I couldn't really get into that in my review because I didn't want to spoil that for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Just like being able, it's almost like she just all of a sudden had a best friend but also a best friend that
it was more like a mentor.
Speak to things that only that like they would understand.
Yeah.
Basically. And it like made immediate impacts on her life with like just be nicer to your brothers, cherish the time that you have, be nice to your mom, like, and she quickly implements those things and quickly you see her. They do a good enough job in a movie that's only an hour and a half long of like in the first 10 minutes, her being very much an 18-year-old who's more concerned with hanging out with her friends and doing drugs and shit like that, while her parents are throwing her a birthday party at her house and she's not showing up and like
intentionally didn't show up.
Yeah, like avoiding their calls and like all of these things to very quickly like her making an effort. And I like that it wasn't like, all of a sudden she was best friends with her brother. It's like, well, no, they go out the first time, and he's like, why the fuck
Why
are
are
you
you
here?
doing this?
Yeah,
Yeah,
like what do we don't do this? Like, why are you doing it? And then like they do 2 or 3 more times, and you see the progression in those like quick 1-minute scenes.
But they did it very well for the short amount of time they did it.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, it still felt like good, believable progression, and it gave you enough without going too deep and making the movie long for no reason.
yeah. No, I think it's like kind of the perfect length for the movie. I think it executed really well on everything that it desired to execute on. I thought the girl in the lead role was very, very good. I like that Chad's not like your traditional like male lead, but I think he did like a good job of it. And I say traditional, like he's not somebody I recognize from other movies. He's not like they could very easily get like a generic, like good looking dude, but he's not like a generic looking person.
I think they wanted somebody that looked a little softer and less threatening, so like hence like the long hair. And
That's how
like,
you get her off the girls. You get her to go after a soft looking dude with long hair.
Yeah, a guy that's in touch with his feminine side, huh?
That's what it felt like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the way the whole thing played out. So I definitely gave it a good score. I believe I gave it 3 stars.
I think I did as well.
Yeah, 3 stars. And I have it at one of the things that annoys me about Letterboxd is like sometimes you can flip back and it'll bring you back to your list. Sometimes it just goes to
switch
the movie.
next movie, yeah.
But I have it right behind Beetlejuice at
Okay.
21.
Okay, 21,
So-
21.
Yep. Were the only 2 movies you saw in the movie theater this week?
Wild Robot, Megalopolis, and then I actually finally got back on the Netflix game last night.
Oh,
I intended to start watching Outer Banks, but then I saw Divergent, which
yeah. Shailene Woodley,
yeah,
Miles Teller,
I remember having wanted to see that, and I
Theo
never saw it.
James.
And it was like one of those like leaving soon thing, and when I clicked into it, it was like leaving September 30th, and I was like, oh, sick. Like,
Have
I
you
gotta-
watched them before?
No, so I watched all 3 last night.
Isn't there 4?
No, there's 3. Is there a 4th one?
There's 4 books, I'm pretty sure. What are the names again?
Divergent, Allegiant, and Insurgent. Maybe not in that order, but
No, I think you're right on the order. Or maybe Allegiant.
no, I think
is
it's
third.
Insurgent and then Allegiant. Yeah.
Okay, I feel like maybe there was an intention to make a 4th, but the movies like declined significantly. The first one didn't do well enough, and it's kind of like we're pot committed to making like a franchise, and then they just because I think by the third one, it maybe wasn't even a major like release.
Damn. I like them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like them a lot. Like, I like the world they built and like the whole like breakdown of like the class system and all that stuff.
I actually caught a movie on Netflix as well this
Yeah.
week, randomly, because I was looking up. I watched Knives Out this week, and I wanted to watch Glass Onion, so I went on Netflix and I went to search for Glass Onion because I don't know if you guys do this on like Netflix or any streaming service. First, I try to find it by just casually scrolling through all the options, but I just couldn't find it anywhere. So I was like, okay, I'll go to search. And when I went to search, a movie called Dude popped up.
It
Like
just
on the
shows all
side.
the other searches and you end up going through those, right?
Yeah, so it had this movie Dude, which has Lucy Hale, who is from whatever that show that I watched 177 episodes
Oh,
of.
PLO?
Yeah.
Because wasn't she also in that movie we went to Warwick to see?
Yes, she's in
Yeah.
that. She's in this movie Puppy Love too. I've watched a bunch of stuff with her. The Hating Game, which I think is no, The Hating Game's a different one. Either way, she's been in a bunch of rom-coms. It was really good. But Dude's from like 2018, and it's got a few actresses or actors. It has Austin Butler in it, but he's only in it for like the first 10 minutes, and basically it's about this group of 4 girls who are friends in their junior year, and one of the girls, Lucy Hale's dating her brother, who is Austin Butler, and he's graduating, and the one night they're hanging out, and they go home, and he drives home by himself and ends up getting into a car accident and dying, and it deals with like the whole year after his death of their senior year, basically, and just how they've dealt with it and shit like that. And they're just like, it came out on 420 apparently, from what I did looking at it, and it's all about like they're super like stoners in the movie.
This sounds so familiar. I feel like I might have seen it, but
Really? Yeah,
I think it was one of those things like you're put on before bed and you're not fully paying attention.
Yeah, it's
but-
pretty good.
yeah.
It was one that the thing about Netflix also, you go onto it just to read the synopsis, but then it starts playing.
And you're just
I
like,
hate
fuck it, I'm in for the ride.
Yeah, well, and like most of the time I'm just annoyed by that because I'm like, I just don't want to really watch this right now, but I just let it keep playing, and it just kept my interest enough that I never stopped. I just watched it. Yeah, you know. Knives Out, by the way, still really fucking good.
Yeah.
But so you're back on the Netflix game. I haven't watched that Adam Brody TV show yet, but it's very high on my list right now.
Which one?
It's the one with him and Dax Shepard's girlfriend or wife, not girlfriend, Kristen Bell.
Mhm.
It just came out last week. It's like a mini series, like rom-com mini series, and it's getting like
you had talked about this.
Yeah, it's getting like really good reviews from everybody. So I definitely want to watch it, but you know, I had to put priority on Agatha.
Unfortunately,
Rightfully so.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, I'm okay with it. I figure I that's a binge, so I'm gonna watch that all in one day, probably, anyways. So
yeah.
you know. But so what's your plan now for OBX? Are you just gonna jump into that today? Like, what are you thinking?
I'll probably start it tomorrow, where I have like more of a full day. I'll just wake up, bang into it. And
Are you gonna go back and watch season 1?
No, I still have that pretty fresh in the head.
Okay.
Surprisingly, because I don't really remember shit, but I think from doing the Beyond the Bank shit, like
Yeah.
the recaps helped me lock it in.
Yeah, so like you have seasons 2 and 3. I'm getting nervous. I'm reading I'm not spoilers, but like people are talking about how Rudy Panko, who plays JJ, is like his girlfriend's controlling or something like that. And there's these rumors that he's leaving after season 4.
Then I'm leaving too.
And that he's going to get written out, and people are nervous because they're like, yeah, like they're he's their favorite character for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's rumors, and Bailey something or other who plays Kira went on like a live and was just like, it's so annoying that like people are blaming me because I don't know if they, people like when they ship a couple in a TV show, they want them to like be a couple in real life. It kind of happened with John B and Sarah.
Yeah.
And it didn't work out, I guess. And like they're blaming that in some way or her for it. I don't know. It's weird. I read a little bit about it. I'm hoping it's just like not true because it's not coming out from anybody else. But there was something about him not following like the executive producer for the show now and like some other stuff. It would be a big hit though if he left the show. And because I think everybody kind of thought Madeline Klein would be the first one to leave if any of them were to, because him and her are the only ones who have done any. Well, John B, I guess, is starting to do some stuff outside of it too, but his are Netflix movies, whereas like Madeline Klein's doing like movie theater movies. She's in Glass Onion, she's getting like those opportunities. Madeline Klein is Dave Bautista's girlfriend in Glass Onion, who has a scene where she's banging Edward Norton.
Oh.
Don't remember that?
I remember, I guess, the scene. I just can't picture the girl because I have no idea who she is.
She would, if she was new to the scene, she'd be in my running for favorite woman of 2024. One of these weeks, we are going to spend a little bit of time probably figuring out our categories for our year-end award show that we're going to do this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can't wait to hear what categories you come up with.
Apparently, she's also in Stranger Things.
Yeah, she's in like an early season episode.
What?
Not in like multiple.
Her name is Tina.
Episode.
She's in 2 episodes.
She's in season 2,
2017.
Season 2, I think, is when she's in. Yeah, I did know that.
I don't remember that.
I feel like when they were going to like the parties, maybe in either season 2 or maybe it was season 1, when they go to the party and the kid gets killed in the backyard in the pool.
Oh,
she might have been at that party.
Barbara?
Yeah. Something like that, though.
Oh, no. Yeah, so she probably isn't one. She's one of Steve's, like, the popular girl posse.
Because I think
that looks nothing like her.
That's right before Outer Banks was like, she had that role, I think.
Gotcha.
Which is obviously just like a quick
thing.
Yeah. We're only 9 days away
from
season 4.
Oh shit!
I'm locked in on that, man.
No, it's all good. I'm going for a fucking deep dive tomorrow. I'm telling you,
you'll get done with it pretty quick.
Yeah.
I mean, these seasons aren't super long. 10 episodes, I think, each.
Yeah,
nothing crazy. So I still have 2 other movies to talk about that I went to the theater for. So last week I went to Danvers. And I saw this movie called A Mistake.
That's like a hospital movie or something.
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
And it's another Elizabeth Banks movie.
Okay, yeah, I read something about it and I thought about going to see it, but I didn't want to drive to Danvers again.
Before you get into it, can I just ask, why does Danvers and Framingham get all these random like single
More
movies?
theaters.
They're bigger theaters. Yeah.
Yeah,
Are
so
they?
like where you look at Braintree, where they only have 10 theater rooms.
I
Like
think Framingham has
has
16,
16, and I think Danvers
has
also
12,
has.
I thought.
No, it might be 14.
Okay.
I think it's 14. Yeah.
Here's a negative on Danvers, though. Have you noticed they don't have bathrooms in the hallways?
You have to walk out of the.
Yeah, you have to walk out into the lobby for the bathroom, I'm pretty sure.
Fuck Danvers.
It's stupid. I like everything else about Danvers. I just don't like that. And the drive, obviously, is tough.
Yeah.
But
It took me a little over an hour.
I got the ticket for this movie and read a couple reviews, and they weren't super positive for it. And I was like, this might just suck. Like, because like I'm driving out there for a 12:45 movie, but I have to drive back. So it took me an hour to get there. It took me an hour and 45 to get home from it. Because of the time I was leaving was tough. But so it's an Australian-based movie, which is also weird that they chose Elizabeth Banks to do this movie because she's the only notable like actor that you really recognize in it, and her accent's kind of tough. Like it's not the best, but the movie like surprised me quite a bit. I really liked it. I also realized the thing that might gross me out the most in films, and it's not like I watch a ton of gory horror movies, but this like the very beginning of this movie is them doing an operation on a person who has like is having an issue. They think that she's has like an issue with her kidney or something like that. And they go in, they cut her open, and they're showing you like overhead shots of like them cutting her open, and then opening up the like her stomach.
This doesn't seem like the type of movie that would be that graphic.
Though it's really only graphic for the beginning part here because they're showing you the mistake that like sets off the whole movie. Okay. And so they're showing you like a camera going into her intestines. And then like she has like it's not like an RN, but like it's like a student doctor who's working with her.
Okay, a resident.
Yeah, so is that a resident, an RD, a resident doctor?
I think so. I don't know. Whatever.
Whereas one's a resident nurse.
No, you're thinking registered nurse. That's different.
Fair. That's a good point. Yeah. So he's like learning underneath her, and she tells him to cut another hole because they're not getting enough suction. Like you have to basically pump air into the stomach so that you can separate the organs, so you can see in between when you put the camera in there. And when they're looking in between, they realize that she has the girl that's being operated on has sepsis. So she's like, her organs are getting infected. And she has him cutting another hole to try and enter from a different part of the stomach. And when he cuts the hole and goes to put like a port or something into it, he's not getting like he's not puncturing through because he's not putting enough pressure. And she tells him like, you've got to put a little bit more force behind it. But he ends up putting too much force behind it, and it causes the girl to start bleeding. And she goes in and saves her. Like Elizabeth Banks is supposed to be one of the top surgeons, but the girl ends up going into intensive care. She's alive. They like save her, like fix her up and everything. She goes to intensive care, and she dies in intensive care that night. And it sets off this whole thing where in Australia they're trying to make it public success rates of surgeons at the same time that this is happening, and she's going through like they're bringing her in for meetings about what happened and how the girl dies because the parents of the girl were like, you said that everything was okay and that she was going to be fine, and now she's dead. And she mentions that there was an issue or a complication during her surgery, and that like leaves them being like, you fucking killed my daughter, basically. So all of that's happening while also they're having these things in the public where it's like, we're going to start telling people about what surgeons do. And she's like 100% opposed to it because like, she's like it'll make people stop wanting to operate on people that have lower chances of living because you don't want those things on your record if they're going to be public. So it's going to make doctors more picky about what surgeries they're willing to do if they think they're going to do a surgery and somebody might die, which is a perfectly realistic reason to be like, I'm against it. But there's the guy on the other side is like, we want to hold people accountable, and we want to make people know that they're getting the best surgery possible and like all of this stuff, which is also a reasonable argument on the flip side. I feel like if you're the people going in for the surgeries, not the people doing the surgeries.
Yeah. I could see the argument from both sides.
Right. But so all of this stuff is playing out in the public. Like the parents go to the news about it. There's articles written about Elizabeth Banks' character, and it's causing like she gets like suspended at work. And the whole time that RN is dealing with the fact that he thinks he's responsible for killing that girl.
Oh shit.
So she's like being very selfish in her like ways, and she thinks that he's kind of a baby. Like this is part of. She's just kind of numb to this stuff. Like people die during surgery, and like you can't like put that on yourself, or you'll never be able to move on. Is kind of her message, but she's not really hearing him that he's really struggling with it. So it leads up to him, and I don't know how much you want me to spoil it if you care or not, but like
Go for it.
it basically leads up to him killing himself. She goes to see him. It's kind of fucked up actually before this. So she finds out she's losing her job. She's panicking. She's been hearing stuff in her walls, and she ends up like when she's pissed off, just destroying her walls, and finds that there's like a termite's nest inside of the wall. So she goes and lights all those like fumigation candles and to kill them all.
Yeah.
In the beginning of the movie, though, her sister asks her to babysit her dog because she's moving in with a guy that doesn't want a dog in his apartment. She forgets because she's upset about all these things at work and then gets attacked by fucking termites that she like lights all of those things and leaves.
Left the dog in the house.
So she realizes she sleeps the night in the hotel. The night in the hotel, the guy, the registry or whatever keeps calling her, and she's not answering it. And she wakes up in the morning, realizes she sees a person walking the dog, and she's like, holy shit. So she goes and finds the dog and has to bring it to the vet and have it put down. Super sad. And then right after that, she tries calling. She tells the sister, and then she tries calling her registrar, and she can't get in touch with him. Finds his address, goes to his house, knocks on the door. Nobody answers. Goes down to her car, which is in the parking garage, and starts calling him. Hears the phone ringing from a car a few cars down. Finds him in the back seat, dead, basically. So this leads up to like them basically the hospital trying to pin his guilt and his responsibility for the death on him. So then it allows her to not face any blame any longer, to get her off basically. So she can start operating on people again. But she has like this, clairvoyant moment. She's like, she goes and talks to the ICU nurses and like head of ICU about the girl. Finds out that like it had nothing to do with the surgery, why she died. That wasn't why. It was the sepsis. Like it was just too much for her. It overcame her and she died. And she basically is just like, you can't scapegoat this kid and say that he was so distraught from what he did that he took his own life. And like they were trying to say he was worn out from doing the job so much and that affected his headspace. And like she's like, that's not what it is. It's like we didn't care enough for him and I didn't do my job as like his boss basically. And yeah, it's just like it's just a really solid drama the whole way through. I really enjoyed it.
Sounds intriguing.
Yeah, it was better than I thought I was going into watch. And I put it in. I've got to find this list is too long now, guys.
I usually just go to the top, sort by newest.
Fine, Dante. How do I do that? Nope, that's it. This.
And then sort by, and then newest first. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I have it in at 36 and I gave it 3 stars. Solid movie.
All right.
The other one I saw was Azrael.
Azrael.
Yeah.
Why does that sound familiar?
It's in Framingham it's playing. It's
Horror
almost
movie?
It's almost entirely no dialogue in the movie.
Ugh.
It's like a futuristic thing where there's like some of it's kind of a little confusing. The reason I wanted to see it was Samara Weaving's in it, who is like a great horror actress currently. Like Ready or Not, she's in. She's also in the beginning of Scream 6. Basically like there's zombies in the world. They take the voice capability away from like the people who live there. It's something to do with like it's kind of religious in the way it plays out, but like the words you speak into the world can like release demons or something. So they basically take people's voice boxes away. So nobody can really talk in the movies. And you go through a bunch of stuff like there's this like community that goes out and like kills people basically. And they kill her boyfriend early in the movie. So then she keeps going back. She goes back to try and find them. And all this shit kind of happens from there. It's got a lot of good action. A little tough to follow because you're not getting context for any of what's going on because it's just not dialogue. So it's an hour and a half, and there's probably 10 lines of dialogue from one character who dies in the whole movie, and the rest of it's just like voice, like just facial acting, and like she tries to scream, but she has no voice box, so she can't make the noises.
Okay.
But in the end of the movie, the weirdest fucking part of it, like kind of crazy action happening towards the end of it, and there's a girl in the church of the community that they're in, and she's pregnant. You see her pregnant the whole movie, and there's a scene where she scratches this girl, and when the zombies come to her, they don't know it's a zombie because like she holds her hand up where she scratched the pregnant girl, and it sniffs it, and it thinks that she's one of them. So you're like, okay, what's going on there? That's kind of fucking weird. So she goes back and she goes to kill the pregnant woman. Pregnant woman ends up giving birth and gives birth to like a Satan baby. Like it's like it looks like a goat. It's like a baby, but with like a goat head.
What the fuck?
Yeah. And it basically ends with like Samara Weaving's character just like carrying this fucking demon baby. This is a very abridged version of a movie that was a little hard to follow. I think I did write a quick little review for myself. Samara Weaving was badass, but I don't know if I understand a movie with no words, is what I wrote as my review.
Okay.
However, I did give it 2.5 stars.
Okay.
And it's ranked 54th.
Huh.
If you're into like the Samara Weaving type of horror that she's done, like if you liked Ready or Not and the way she plays that role, I think you'd really like this movie. It's just tough because like part of her acting that people really like is like her dialogue's like generally very good in those movies, and you just don't get it in this. But you get the whole other shebang of her just like being like, I'm in a shit situation and I'm just gonna murder everything that I come across.
Huh.
So it's cool.
Interesting.
And then I did watch Daryl Dixon season 2, episode 1. It was very good. I'll just leave it at that. I don't want to keep dragging those things on. And I know people are like, I don't care about The Walking Dead. Season 2, Book of Carol. She's got to get to Paris.
He's not in. Oh, is he still in France?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He decided he was going to leave at the end of season 1. Decided to stay because there's a kid there and a woman that he's helping. So he stays in France to help train this kid. And Carol is like, I need to go find my friend, and I don't know where he went. And she figures out that he's in France. So then she has to manipulate a guy who she finds out has a plane to help her get there. It's kind of fucked up. Similar to what we were talking about with Agatha, where you're like, this is supposed to be like the main character, but at the same time, you don't like a lot of the things that they're doing. You just know that like Carol's character is actively lying to this guy to manipulate him because he had a child die. And for people who did watch the early seasons of The Walking Dead, her kid dies, right? And they have a scene where they reshot that barn scene where the kid comes out of the barn because he was like, you can stay the night here. And he's going to open up a barn, and it's giving her like flashbacks. And it's basically like she hasn't necessarily dealt with the trauma of that stuff. She's just put it aside because of survival and like everything else that's happened. But she finds out that he lost a kid and is using the fact she didn't tell him that her daughter's dead. She tells him that her daughter, right before all this stuff happened, leaves with the father to go to Paris. And she hasn't been in contact with him since the apocalypse happened, basically, since the outbreak happened. And is using that as a way to manipulate him into being like, what would you do if you could see your son again? So now you know, like, eventually they're going to get to Paris and he's going to find out, like, you brought me here to find this dude. Like, that's fucking crazy. Why would you do that to me?
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, it's good. You said you had a question for us, Dave.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure y'all know exactly where this goes as soon as I ask it. You guys like Pharrell Williams?
I do. About this Lego movie?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I like Pharrell. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like him because he's happy.
I think he's
nice.
Yeah, he's a happy dude. He's done a lot of like good stuff within obviously the music space.
The Neptunes.
Do you think that it's he's worthy of getting his own like biography type movie?
I think you'd have to see the biography to know, I suppose.
Yeah.
I think that I don't mind. Like, I think it looks creatively pretty strong, and he has so many famous people that he's associated with that they're able to cast in it. that greatly helps.
Yeah, I think ultimately it comes down to like how much interesting facts is the movie going to reveal that I wasn't aware of.
I better go over that Robin Thicke lawsuit.
That's some blurred lines right there, my man.
Yep.
I just feel like I'm not saying that something like this shouldn't be made, but do you think it's a theatrical release type movie, or it's a hey, let's chill on the couch, watch some Netflix. Hey, there's a new Pharrell doc.
I think because it's Lego, it's gonna do well. I think that's the reality why it's going into the theater.
And I think that's a smart play, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I mean, isn't Lego like, don't you think that's more of like adults will see it, but like that's like a children draw.
Yeah, so I think that's a biography that's going to be geared heavily towards kids.
Kids don't know who this man is.
I don't think it matters because it's Lego, and I think that's kind of the point. That they think they have a story that's good enough that they can tell through like the Lego character stuff that kids will laugh at. Like I think it's going to be a very soft version of a biography.
I also just assumed it was like a budgeting thing, right? Like if they do it that way, they can tell the story more freely without driving up costs on like locations and stuff.
I think you can do it more creatively. I don't know if you can just do it more freely because of the budget. I just think that it like doing anything animation and doing it this way is going to offer them a level of creativity that will make it appeal to the people who go and see it.
Okay, fair.
You know? So like it did seem weird to me the first time I saw the trailer. I've seen it a few times now. But it doesn't offend me. Like I don't know. I'm not like, hey, I want to see that, you know, like, and it, like, but I'm like, whatever. Just something. It's different. So I give them a credit of being like, we're gonna make a biography. What is there a biography that you would rather see of in Lego format of a person?
No.
I'll say it definitely intrigues me. It's not something I'm like clamoring for, or like, oh my god, I have to go see that. But at the same time, I'm like, no, I'm interested.
I think it's just it's a weird take. I don't care so much that he wants to tell his story through Legos. Fine, that's cool. I just kind of find it weird that's a theatrical.
Do you think that was his idea?
I mean, they pretty much tell you that in the trailer.
Yeah.
So
I don't know if that's just there for the trailer though, to introduce the fact that it is Lego. Well, you know what I say to that? Lego. Dude, like we're gonna end up seeing it. That's what I mean. that's basically what I mean. Yeah.
Well, obviously.
Any other movies, TV, anything like that, guys?
No for me, dog.
I got nothing else.
No, I saw way too much as it is. So I'm cooling. Well, with that being said, I don't know. We have Joker, Folie à Deux this week.
Oh shit.
Is it?
Yeah. Not getting good reviews.
That also means I still have to watch the first one.
Oh man, you have that in the fucking works now. That's tough. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what we'll be talking about next week. If I had to guess, I don't know what else is coming out, but I know that Saturday Night Live said it was coming out. If you look on AMC, it says it's out right now, but it's not available in any theaters. So I assume they're doing a limited, and you're going to get a full release in a week or two. So I don't know if that's this week or next week, but I'm looking forward to that one way more than I'm looking forward to Joker. But yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still don't know how I feel about musicals.
I still don't know if this is going to be a musical.
I thought it was.
What are we talking about?
Joker.
It's not a musical. First one wasn't.
They've sold themselves as this being a musical. But then the director, Todd Phillips, has come out and been like, musical is kind of a loose term for us on this one. Like there's musical parts of this movie.
Okay.
Like there's music performances by the characters, basically.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll get like a dance scene between Gaga and
Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah.
Well, this might be the last week I can do this. So, well, actually, really quick. A little goes a lot. Like, comment, share, and subscribe.
Please.
Thank you. With that being said, we bid you, Folie à Deux.
Peace.
I'm kidding. Bang, bang. Let's fucking with you. Let's fuck. Yeah.
For those with good taste.